right, good morning. It's Sunday, October 30th. Good to see you today. Today's reading will be John chapter 7 through 9. And if you know anything about me at all, we are coming up on my favorite chapter of the Bible. Man, this is fun. All right, so chapter 7 has, it begins with a few details here. He wouldn't, walk in jewelry. That's referring to Judea, Judah, that area down there in Jerusalem. And so now you see here through these verses, his family did not believe him. There's a back and forth between them. And, James is one of his brothers. Ended up saved, writes a book of the Bible, ends up one of the leaders of the church at Jerusalem. Half-brothers. Jude was written by another half-brother. And so Jesus, he doesn't lie here. He tells them, my time's not to go there yet. And so he lets them go. He ends up going and ends up there, ends up speaking, ends up offending some people. So the things that happened in chapter 6, Pool of Bethesda, all of that would have been between the Pool of Bethesda and the crucifixion is about a year. We know those by the feast in there, so Pool of Bethesda to chapter 7 is about 6 months. So at this point, we're still 6 months out. But man, every time Jesus speaks, more people believe, and the Pharisees are just filled with envy, indignation, the fear of losing their power. Even Jesus said, when I be lifted up, crucifixion, when I be lifted up, you will know. Now, I hope all of these guys got saved. But can you imagine having Jesus crucified, and once he's up there, now you know? Oh, stand back. We're looking for Elijah to come back. Rough place to be. Chapter 8. Do you miss the chapter title scrolling across my face there? Short-lived, 2 days, hey, thought I'd give it a shot. Just trying it on. So chapter 8, Jesus is teaching in one of the side rooms of the temple. It could be large, but it was a treasury. And as he's teaching, a woman is brought in who was caught in adultery. Now, a couple interesting points here. Where's the guy? She was caught in the very act. Where's the guy at? And Jesus answers perfectly. And now when he stoops down, people say that he wrote in the dirt. He's in the temple. There isn't a dirt floor in the temple. What he wrote, I have no idea. So we're going to see this woman in heaven. But notice, Jesus did say, go and sin no more. And then being the light of the world. Jesus speaks of his Father, their Father. If you believed on the Father, you would have believed on me. If you knew me, you'd know the Father. They felt that implication. We're not, we weren't born of fornication, implying that he was. And there it is in verse 28. When you've lifted up the Son of Man, you're going to know. I forgot to cover this. The end of chapter 7. The Pharisees look at each other and say, hey, no prophet ariseth out of Galilee. Search the scriptures. They missed Jonah. Jonah's from Galilee. And all they had to do is ask Jesus, because he was born in Bethlehem. But they're just looking at where he's from, not where he was born. Notice a few times here it talks about, Jesus says, you're seeking to kill me. They say, oh, we're not trying to seek to kill you. Even the crowd's like, isn't this the guy that they're trying to kill? Don't let that be us. But too many times there's people out there that we know that Jesus lived and died. We know this. And so he was a great liar. He was a lunatic, or man, he was who he said he was. But too many let envy and hate get in the way. In verse 44, Jesus drops the hammer. You're of your father, the devil. Now, I do a Bible study on that. The seed of Satan. And the fact of why we need to get saved is not about good works, bad works. It's because we're dead in sin. And so when we get saved, we're born again, we're alive. And so being saved isn't about being good and bad. It's about alive and dead. That's why we can't lose it. All right, here we go. Look down at verse 56 right here. Your father Abraham rejoiced to see my day, and he saw it and was glad. But now verse 58, we think 44 is dropping the hammer. 58, all of creation stops. Everything stops, focuses on Jesus. And what does he say? Verily, verily, I say unto you, before Abraham was, and it is, I am. Jesus is there saying that he is God the Father as well. Yeah, so there's some controversies out there. Oh, Jesus never claimed to be God. Well, there it is. Before Abraham was, I am. Remember, all throughout the Old Testament, I am. So much so they sought to stone him, and he left. All right, spent a lot of time on that one in chapter 8, so we'll spend a little less time on chapter 9. Now, when we get to chapter 11, at the raising of Lazarus, they're going to say, hey, could not this man that healed the blind stop Lazarus from dying? These people were following around and they saw all this stuff. But if you have a red letter edition, the important point to me to make in chapter 9 is there's just a couple chapters there at the top and then at the bottom. There was all this debate going on as Jesus is leaning against the back wall just listening. And there was a debate about who this guy was, if he was really blind, brought in parents, kicked him out. Man, it just got crazy. And it wasn't until the end, until Jesus gets to speak again. Then the Pharisees realize that they're being preached at again. All right. Hope you enjoyed this one. I certainly did. Hope you have a great Sunday. Looking forward to seeing you in church here in a bit. Have a great day.